Hey, this is Fling with DFS Army, and we are doing a cash lineup review for week 6. So let's do it. All right, so we're going to start off with some DFS Army VIPs who cashed this week. With JPV, cash game sweep, even with whack at QB. Dak, whack, I like that. Surprising you were able to pull that off, but good work nonetheless. Then a couple of other testimonials. DFS hoping to win. Great cheat sheet notes again. Cash double up line save me. So we'd love to see that when you don't do well in tournaments, but you are still able to profit or break even or maybe lose a few bucks. Whatever your goals are, like that's pretty awesome, right? And then Baltimore Milk, too kind, awesome calls, hand built lineup off the cash sheet. So ended up profiting in cash. So good for Baltimore Milk. Good for the Ravens getting the win. And then we got our boy Nemitz, cash smash. Let's go. Wasn't even the biggest thing to happen of the day. Clearly, who cares about cash games when you get married? So congratulations to him and his wife. That's awesome. Love to see it. I got married last year, actually, on NFL Sunday, and I don't regret it. Best thing I ever did. So congratulations to you two both. That's awesome. But yeah, let's go ahead and kind of get into the cash line. This was the $25 massive double up single entry, courtesy of Fantasy Labs. And this was the cash line, 136 points. When with Spencer Rattler in cash, kind of get it because so cheap, right? That you can basically just jam all the studs in, eat all the chalk, and be able to hit that cash line. And that's really what happened here. So you had Pollard with Irving, so running back chalk. CeeDee Lamb was able to get the stud wide receiver in. Didn't produce like a stud wide receiver, but at least got 16 points. Drake London in a good spot. Deontay. So really just the pay down was Spencer Rattler and K. Dotton. Obviously a little bit of pay down at tight end. I like that. And then paid up at defense. So, would have done a lot better with the Bucks D, but hit the cash line nonetheless with 136 points. And, we'll kind of go into my cash lineup. So, actually played 2 cash lineups this week. I built one earlier on in the week, and then I built this one, basically right before lock. And, I got a 0 from Trey Tucker. So, it's funny. I basically broke even in cash. I think, I won like about half of the double up. So basically broke even. Obviously didn't profit. Wasn't my best cash week. And it was really just because Trey Tucker got the 0 here. And, those sort of things happen when sometimes when you're looking for a pay down option. With Jacoby Myers being rolled out, Devontae Adams out, I thought Trey Tucker, he was like, 3,600. I thought he would get enough targets to make value. He was getting like 10% ownership. So the field was on him enough, and that was enough for me. So added him to my cash sheet, ended up, putting up that donut, keeping me from getting to the cash line because really I was just 2 points away from, having a profitable day versus breaking even. And that's how these things go. But I liked Lamar in cash. And one thing I want to talk about is when you're looking at your cash lineup, there's a couple spots where like you really just want to lock in floor. This is something we've found via back testing. Lamar gets this year, he has the defense is not what it used to be, so they have to get a lot of points on Lamar's back. So he's actually averaged 26 fantasy points per game. So when I look for a cash game quarterback, I want a guy who can bring 20 plus points per game, who can average over 20 plus points per game. So Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, these guys are certainly going to be in consideration for me. if I get a quarterback that maybe hits 25 once in a while, but he'll have a 10 or a 14 or a 16, like that's too low, salary like considered. Like 6K to like 8K, like I need a quarterback that's getting 20 plus points every week. So that's how you can stay consistent in cash. And then, you're looking for your chalk running backs that are in good spots, good matchups, going to get a lot of volume. So we had that here with Bijan Robinson, with Bucky Irving, with Tony Pollard, good matchups, or specifically with Bijan and Pollard. Bucky, not the best matchup, but good price, favorite team. So we liked that. And then, CD Lamb, kind of the same thing. Like good matchup, high game environment, high target share, high floor. He just didn't really have the kind of game he had. It probably could have saved this Tucker crack 0 if he has a 20 plus point game. Didn't get there. And then Mooney, kind of the same thing, as far as like didn't get there, but like we expected that from a Mooney. Like that 6 isn't really what killed me. Kate Otten was fine. Buck Steve was a smash going against Rattler. That salvaged this lineup from, having a complete disaster. But it was really just a Trey Tucker 0 that's prevented this lineup from, being a profitable cash lineup. Want to look at a little bit of the chalkboard and kind of just like where our thought process was with, the plays that we were on. Lamar was the highest owned quarterback. He had the highest projection. And like I said, he has that floor, that, 20 plus point floor that we're looking for. Dak Prescott, for me, wasn't in cash consideration, even though he was getting good ownership and he was in a high game total. Dak had averaged 19 points on the season. Again, I'm trying to be above 20. So wasn't in cash consideration for me, but, I could see certainly why people played him in cash. And then Jalen Hurts was that other cash quarterback that I had consideration for. And actually, my first look lineup for cash, they cashed. I had Jalen Hurts in it. He scored like 21 points. So Hurts, Daniels, these guys were, the other guys that were in consideration after Lamar. And then at running back, Bucky Irving was far and away the chalk. And this is something that DFS Army VIPs have. The chalkboard, this really helps make your decisions for your cash games, but also for your GPPs, knowing where the chalk is. Where do I maybe want to look to get different? So Irving, Robinson, Pollard, these were the top guys based on ownership, based on projection that we identified that we really liked for our cash game lineup, and they all did well. And then at wide receiver, it was London, it was Lamb, it was Godwin. If you had Godwin in your cash line, you probably cashed. Like he had that type of performance, 38 points. Didn't have him. Had I had him, it would have been a different story. But Amon-Ra and CeeDee Lamb just terrible for 8K in a great spot. They didn't get there. But London did well, of course, and Chris Godwin did. If you just focus on the 6K guys, you did really well. Like I said, Ray McLeod, he was getting ownership, 4,300, 11%. And then Trey Tucker, I got on him late. And the reason that I got on Trey Tucker versus Ray McLeod is I was playing Bijan already. And I was playing either a combination of London or Moody. And most people were in their cash lineup. So it's like, do you want 3 Atlanta Falcons? Maybe they don't have the best game. It's going to be hard for you to hit that cash lineup. So that's something you kind of have to consider when you're playing cash. Do you want to be so heavy on one team? It could be high variance. And in this situation, it ended up burning me because if I'd have gotten Raymond McLeod, I certainly would have made the cash lineup. But, I think most of the times I would make that same decision. And it's going to lead you to the cash line more times than not by not stacking in your cash lineup, not having 3 players from the same team. Now, Jake Ferguson was the chalk. I told everyone in the notes we're going to get to, didn't like him because he's 5K, and I don't like pay-ups for tight ends. They rarely pay off, so I liked K. Dotton in that spot, and, ended up paying off. So last thing we'll do, we'll kind of go over the cheat sheets, thoughts on the slate which this should still be here. All right, so we'll go to cash. And yeah, I had identified Lamar, Daniels, and Hertz. I liked Lamar and Hertz above Daniels and ended up really working out, of course. Um, just because it was a better you typically want to get the higher owned guy, but also Lamar is as good as Daniels has been. Lamar's had that 26 fantasy points per game going into that game, and they were the favorite team. So that's what we like. I like Lamar. I liked Hertz as well, and then I'd identified Bijan and Bucky as my cores for cash, and that ended up working out. Chuba Hubbard was in consideration. Pollard, Gibson, all these guys ended up doing quite well. Lamb, at least he got 16. At least he didn't get a 6, right? Got the 16, got the receptions. Amon Ra, that was a terrible call. It was a good matchup for him though. So I think the process was right. The results obviously weren't there. Dallas plays a lot of zone. They rank bottom 10s in yards per reception. He's top 10 versus zone. So that was the reason I played him. But things happened on a DFS slate. Obviously, it didn't work out. I liked Godwin. Liked Reed. Most of these plays were great, and you did well, except the Trey Tucker that I added. I did tinker, right? Had to tinker, added him last like 2 hours before lock, and sure enough, ended up being the guy that bit me. But the other plays were good. Kate Otten, in the NFL coaches notes, I had identified, even though I had Ferguson as a higher star, I'd identified as Kate Otten as my guy that I like better because I like the pay down option. And then the Titans and Buccaneers, with the Buccaneers being the top pay down option. So, overall, you could see how the DFS Army VIPs were able to get to the cash line. By the way, if you like this kind of content, first off, hit that like button. Let us know. Let us know how you did in cash, how your cash lineup went for you. But if you want to become a DFS Army VIP, I'm going to put a free month offer in the video description. So basically, if you sign up at any of the sports books, use promo code DFS Army, you can get a free month offer. Also, if you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, you've seen the DFS Army content, you've seen enough, you want to join the team, you can use code FantasyFling for 10% off a VIP subscription. That's a Core 4 membership. We got all the sports going on right now. So baseball, playoffs, we got NFL, we got NBA, we got NHL. So the 4 core, you can get 10% off with code FantasyFling. I will put that in the video description. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you for another cash lineup review. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we got so much more content coming your way, including the first look video tomorrow. So we'll see you next time.